Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
And remember these words of wisdom. A balanced diet means holding a cheeseburger in each hand. Morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot. Come on, call in for our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and they've got the best of tires, the best of everything, and the greatest of service. All 7 locations, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and including some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What a nice, charming, sweet voice. Good morning, and thank you for the pledge. God bless you. Have a good day.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. That was nice. Hey, right now, let's go to the weather forecast, not waste any time. Roger and the crew over at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Right there. Can't miss them if you wanted to. I mean, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. And they open the doors up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and Roger says, y'all come on in. We've got the best of tools and equipment for rent. And I don't care if you need rototillers or if you need jackhammers. They've got it all right there at K&R Rental. Number to call, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Right now, here's the weather.
Feels like we're smack dab in the middle of summer because, well, we are, and the weather is going to reflect that. Here is your weather forecast today for Zeb at the Ranch, expecting sunny skies and a high of 90. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, expecting gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low right around 60. This high-pressure system is going to be sticking around with us for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, sunny skies, high of 94, partly cloudy for Wednesday night with a low of 60. Thursday, again, sunny and 91, expecting the same for Friday. By Saturday, mostly sunny and 90. Saturday night, however, do have a slight chance of some thunderstorms before midnight with a low of 63. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
But she does a great job on the weather. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. As I said, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. Stop in or call them for information about all their available tools and equipment at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Want to also remind you that Thursday this week is sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. The sale that works for you. Merv May, Cade Rocky, Lance Udy. Absolutely the best. Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Sale on Thursday at 10:30. Don't you miss it. Caller, I'll be right there in a minute. Stand by. I also want to remind everybody about our our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Cindy. Hello, everybody. I made a comment yesterday, and somebody called and said, "Are you serious that Daryl's will do our washing?" Yes, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes. If you don't have time, take that great big plastic bag of your clothes in there, and they'll take care of them for you. And believe me, they can have everything looking brand spanking new. The best. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Well, thank you, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I want to make a statement before you get started because this has been on my mind for the last day or so, and I am infuriated. Zeb, if I went out to your house and said, "Zeb Bell, you've been saying bad things about me, and what do you say about that?" And you would say, "No, I haven't." Okay, where are we at then? We're nowheres, because we're going to be in a dogfight if we continue to argue with each other. And that's exactly what President Trump has done, is when he confronted him with the facts that he had, he denied it.
Yeah.
Now, what good would it have done if they'd have started a fist fight right there on TV?
You know, and Keith,
And what is wrong with America?
America's got some real problems right now, and the problem with America is, and I think you'll agree with this, Keith, the problem with America is Americans don't think they have a problem. And the left is absolutely twisting and turning and churning and absolutely creating a hate-filled society with feelings of animus against the Constitution and against our military, against our economy, everything to be a rolling kind of a bowling ball going down the alley to hit the pins of the Trump administration. And I don't see this getting any better. I really don't. I think the hate and the animus is going to continue all the way through the midterms, right up to 2020. And I hate to sound negative about this, but I'm not seeing anything that's going to shut up the liberal loons on the left.
Well, I'm going to bet you $1, Zeb Bell, that in the end, President Trump will come out on top, because he is an honest man. He's trying to tell it the way it is, and these goons are spending all their time trying to fight him instead of trying to help him.
Well, let's talk about this real quick, and then I've got to do a commercial break. And I'm going to go back to this tape 100 times on my program. You remember the tape where Obama was leading over and talking to Medvedev of the Russian government, and he said, "Be sure and tell Vladimir that after the election I'll have more flexibility." It was an open mic. Obama didn't know that mic was open. And you talk about collusion. Tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility. Come on, there's as much collusion right there as they've found anything to do with the Trump campaign. But the left is like a junkyard dog right now. They're trained to go after, attack, and bite, and they're doing that.
Well, when you made that statement about Obama there, I'd like to remind you of things that you've said in the past. I felt like throwing my 10.5 shoe right into that TV, because that was disgraceful.
Well, the thing is, the left forgets about that. And also the left, the Democrats, and I hope they're listening out there this morning. I know they are back east because they send me hate mail all the time. But the left also forgets that during the presidential campaign with Obama against Romney, Obama sat right there at that table and criticized Romney for thinking that Russia was an enemy and said that it was going back into the 1850s politics. Obama, the left, and the rest of the Democrats are nothing but hypocrites.
Well, and these Republicans that are, this Bob Corker, I would like to take him out and use a bullwhip on him.
No violence.
So daggone stupid.
Well, I'll go along with the stupid part, but no violence. I can't adhere to that, because then I really get criticized. Hey, buddy, I got to do a couple of commercials, but I do appreciate your thoughts, because I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
You have a good morning.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it. Want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. Oh, next week, we're going to be over there on the 26th for Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Please fill the place up. Call your friends and your neighbors. Call those that aren't your friends. And tell them to come on down to Lunch Bunch at 611 North Overland in Burley on the 26th. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Great food, whether you like breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time. And super nice people serving you. And we'll have door prizes to give away, a whole bunch of them. And just have a darn good time at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. And they have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Also want to say a big thank you and shout out to our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. All your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, absolutely. And they're open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And believe me, that air conditioner's probably going chug, chug, chug. I'm working hard. Make sure that it's got clean air filters, and they've got all the AC air filters over at Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Really good people. All right, it's your turn. You know, like Keith was saying just a moment ago, a lot of the people are criticizing and pointing fingers at Donald Trump as of today. Did President Trump make a mistake yesterday in not going after Putin more harshly regarding possible Russian meddling in the election? What good would it have done? What good would it have done? I kind of agree with Keith that we know that Russia has been meddling, if you will, here in the United States for years and years and years. That is a bona fide fact. On the other hand, so have we. It's kind of a spy versus spy. Remember the Mad magazine, the humorous magazine that always featured the cartoon graphic of Alfred E. Newman? In the Spy versus Spy, good guy, bad guy, well, then it was reversed, bad guy, good guy, you know. In the spy world, that's what they do. They spy, and they gain information, and they try to gain the upper rung of the ladder. So why are they, and I know I'm going to take some criticism over this, but it's a fact of life. Why are they, the Russians, so dastardly, more so than we or anyone else, doing the same thing? The Dems are really going crazy over this. The Democrats are going nuts. I mean, they're running around, their hair's on fire, and they can't find an extinguisher. They are saying that Trump is in Putin's pocket. Some on the left are calling Trump a traitor. Some on the left are calling Trump an imbecile. These are people on network news broadcasts. I'm absolutely amazed, and I'm going to use that word. I am absolutely amazed that the media today has sunk into the quagmire of manure that they consider journalists today. Some of the people on CNN and MSNBC, I don't know how they have jobs. They are calling the president everything you can think of. CNN calls him disgraceful. Chuck Schumer, head of the Democrats, said Putin is blackmailing Trump. And one Democratic nincompoop is calling for a military coup against our president, Cohen of Tennessee. This is nuts. Caller, stand by, please. I'll be right with you. I want to remind you about a great big health fair coming up at Pomerelle Place, and it is going to be tomorrow. Put it on your calendar from 8 to noon at Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. The number to call, 677-8212. They're going to have a lot of vendors there. They're going to give away a lot of prizes, excellent prizes, some from Jill's Flower House and some from, of course, the Goodie Shop. Cash Regional is going to be doing the blood draws. Oh, get there. Find out how good and healthy you are. Pomerelle Place, 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Great big health fair tomorrow. Don't you miss it. Also want to acknowledge our friends at Dino's Septic Service. Hot summer days. Woo! Do you want to be out there pumping a septic tank? No. Not me. Anyway, hot summer days, they're out there working with a smile on their face. Fast, fair, friendly service at Dino Septic Service. Numbers to call. Write these down. Don't forget, 436-6526 or 678-1638. They do it all. Septic tanks, pumps, septic tanks and drain fields installed, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh, yeah! With a big truck that says, smells cargo. On the way. Dino Septic Service, absolutely the best. We're proud to have them on the program. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know, the Democrats are so worried about the Russians interfering in our elections, but what about the Democrats allowing illegals to vote in our elections? Isn't that interfering with our elections? What about college students getting dead people to vote? What about, I mean, the Russians might play a little part in it, but we as citizens allow this to go on because we don't have a voter ID. And they say, oh, well, the poor people, they can't afford a voter ID. If they can get welfare, they can get an ID.
Absolutely. Can you give me, my dear lady, one good reason? Please help me. Why, if you know an election is coming up, whether it's the midterms in this November or in 2020, what kind of an excuse would ever hold water saying, well, I couldn't get to town and I couldn't get an ID. I couldn't get this taken care of. That makes absolutely pitiful nonsense to me.
If you can get out and go get groceries with your welfare card, you can go get an ID.
And I want to go back to your first point. I agree with you. I want to go back to your first point in our conversation, and you're spot on. Even people in the national news like Tucker Carlson agree with you that the United States' biggest impact on our election is not Russia, it's not China, it's not Syria, it's not Iran, it's Mexico, because we are allowing illegal aliens into this country, and quite frankly, many areas of the United States are turning a blind eye and a deaf ear and letting them vote.
Exactly, and my understanding is, a lot of them can go get a driver's license, and so, I've got a picture ID, it's a driver's license.
Yeah.
There needs to be somewhere on there that says, I am not a citizen and I cannot vote.
The point was made on Carlson's show the other night and then also on the 5 on Fox News that Mexico actually is doing more to destroy our voting sanctity, if you will, than anyone else, including Russia or others, because, like it was mentioned, they are packing our electorate with illegal votes, and I'll stand behind that.
Exactly. Well, and then here's something to consider, too. We have citizens who've never been to jail, who've never been in trouble with the law, who are not allowed to vote.
Yeah.
The people who live in the so-called territories of the United States, they're citizens, but they can't vote.
Yeah. I want to go back, and I really want to talk about what you said about the illegal aliens coming in and voting, and some of the other points you made. You're spot on, but I wish more people would adhere and listen and embrace the attitude that you're showing, because I'm not worried about Russia. I really am not.
Me neither.
But I am worried about all these communities back east on the East Coast, on the left coast in California, other communities saying, oh, well, we're going to let the illegal aliens have a voice in the community. We're going to let them vote. What? That's completely illegal and against our Constitution.
Exactly. Well, and in California, they're letting them hold political office.
Yes. Yes. If this doesn't fry your bacon, nothing will, because the American people, it's not the politicians that are causing the problem. It's us allowing the problem. Would you agree with that?
Exactly. Well, and if I can't win by honesty, I'll do it by hook and crook. I think that should be the Democrats' new motto.
I don't know what their motto is, and to be honest with you, I don't think they have a motto. All it is hate, and prove me wrong.
Yeah. And my way, and my way, and my way, and I don't care what you think, it's my way.
Yeah, they're a spoiled little bunch of kids that have the football, the only community football, they think, and nobody's going to play the game unless they adhere to their sick, perverted rules.
Mm-hmm. And the rules change every 2 minutes, so you don't know what the rules are.
To suit themselves.
Exactly.
Thank you, and I do appreciate your calls. I want you to know that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. Nice lady. I'll pay some bills, and then I'll continue being mad. The Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hello, Nick Greenwell. I have got to get rescheduled to get back in there. I've got a few problems with the old leg, and I got to take care of those, and they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and they can help you get back to being you. You! That's right, with all the exercises, and of course all the great physical therapists there, and the hydrotherapy pool. Oh, I'm telling you, you better get in there and see them today. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191. You know, I've bought a couple of camper shells now from Save on Shells. Excuse me for choking. But when I go in there the last time, and I said to Anthony, you know, I need one that'll match the paint on this truck, he went overboard and absolutely provided the very best in service at Save on Shells, 1027 Overland in Burley. This young man is so absolutely devoted and dedicated to serving you and providing the best of service. I'll tell you, I bought a shell for my pickup. I'm tickled to death, and you will be too. You get a hold of them today. Call them at 312-1525. That number again, 312-1525. Or Save on Shells located at 1027 Overland and Burley. I mean this. Absolutely the best. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. Got a question for you this morning.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, if the Destructocrats should get back into power, God forbid, do you think they would carry on what Donald Trump has done for this country, or would they go back to socialism and communism?
The way the party is today, the way the party is structured today, with not the Chuck Schumers and others like him, Pelosi or Feinstein, but with some of the faces of new Democrats, Cory Booker and that woman back in New Jersey that won, or pardon me, New York that won on the ticket, and she is a kook. Let me tell you, 28-year-old socialist Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. I am afraid that they will do one of two things. They will go so far left, or they will develop socialistic talents against the capitalistic society of the United States, and this country could change drastically forever in a negative way.
Well, I called in this morning because that is one of my big concerns. It really is.
Well, I think everybody should be concerned. Honestly, everybody should be concerned. And this, talking about this 28-year-old socialist that was elected in New York, I'm telling you, Tony, this woman is scary. You know why she's scary? Because she's stupid. That woman is stupid. She was asked a question about the Middle East, and she said that Israel is occupying Palestinian land. Now think about what I just said. That's what she said. Israel is occupying Palestinian land. And when the person that was the talk show moderator asked her about her comments, she started to back up, fluttered, got everything nervous, and she said, "Oh, well, let me reconsider my remarks. I'm not sure if I'm an expert on geopolitical aspects of the Middle East." Listen, then keep your mouth shut.
Well, I still got relatives back in New York, and New York right now is a sanctuary state, and it'll be so overrun with foreigners that the American people will be in dire terrorism living underneath these people that are pouring into our country.
I'm really worried. I am. I just absolutely, when I listen to 28-year-old, I mean, I don't think that you really mature into political knowledge until you're in your mid or latter 30s. Honestly, I believe that. But 28-year-old...
You're absolutely right. They've had no experience coming out of Mexico there, where she comes from. Most of the people can't speak English or write.
Well, she's
probably a product of that.
She's in New York State, and believe me, did not come from the poor background that she claims. Actually, some people disputed that this morning that knew her and the high school she went to and also the neighborhood she was from. She was by no means poor, and she's advocating socialism. She's advocating a decline or a demise of capitalism. She is a pro-socialist, and this woman scares me because she is one of the figureheads now that has risen to the top, so to speak, of the Democratic Party.
The Destructocratic Party.
I got you. I agree with you.
Well, Zeb, I'll keep calling our congressmen, see if we can get them off their derrieres and get something done at least.
You know, you said that very politely. Had it been just you and I on the telephone, I'm sure the verbiage would have been different. Thank you, Tony.
Absolutely.
Hey, take care. God bless.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm going to say, I'm an old man. But I'm going to say, if God allows me to stay on this earth for another 2, 5, 7 years, 10 years, whatever the case might be, within that realm of time, if we the people, first 3 words of the Constitution, if we the people do not stand up against these insidious left-wing nuts, this country, its values are gone. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. And they've got three locations to serve you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli, and the Nampa location. Oh, my goodness. They've got all the Bobcat excavators, new and used, for sale or rent, all shapes and sizes. A gentleman called me the other day, and he says, what was the name of that place? I said, Barry Equipment and Rental. And he said, well, I don't know how to run one, but I heard you say they'll teach me. And I said, that is right. They got a great big old sandbox out behind, and they'll teach you how to run this so you're comfortable. All the equipment rentals and retail equipment sales, Barry Equipment and Rental. Highway 30 in Burley, Addison Avenue West, Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
It's my friend.
Hey, when you accuse somebody of something, first off, you need to have facts so you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, kind of.
And it's not on hearsay or someone saying that, oh, this is what happened. So who has accused the Russians of hacking the election and hacking the DNC server?
Well, my goodness, the first thing that would come to my lips to go out into the public airwaves would be, the Democrats.
Okay, so where are the facts that the Russians hacked?
Doug, you're old enough to know better. The Democrats don't rely on facts. How many times have I told you that?
Well, this is true. So they're all up in arms because Trump did not take hearsay evidence and throw it in Putin's face.
Let me ask you something. If you and I were running for let's just keep it simple, maybe the leadership of a church, okay? And the congregation wanted to listen to both of us after the service on Sunday, and you had some dirt on me, and that was unproven, and you went up to the podium and you started really railing against me and everything else, but you had no proof. Really, what is that going to make you look like to the rest of the congregation?
Exactly. It's going to make you look like someone who just doesn't dig in for the facts and stick to the facts. It's someone who likes to throw dirt around, like most of the congressmen and senators on the Senate floor, where they can lie through their teeth, know they're lying, and can't be held liable.
That's right.
For it.
That's right. I absolutely do not understand the mindset of this country right now. 8 years ago, think about this, 8 years ago, everybody was jumping on the Obama train that said, Russia's bad and all this kind of thing. And now that Trump is doing it, it's the different story, a different song.
Exactly. Obama met with him, and it was the best thing ever happened. Obama had an open mic moment, tell Putin after the election, I got more flexibility.
There you go.
But had Trump been caught on that, and he hasn't told him that as far as I know, and yet he's being crucified, and Obama was being held up because he was a Nobel Peace Prize winner for doing nothing.
Let me ask you this question, and this just hit me. What if at noon today Eastern Time, Donald Trump quit the presidency? He walked away and said, take it. I'm done with it. I don't need this. What do you think would happen if both he and Mike Pence walked away because of all the garbage that's being thrown in their direction? What would happen?
Oh, well, for one thing, the swamp and Democrats would throw a big party. We won. We got him out of office because he was an illegitimate president. He didn't win other than Putin helping him. And I've learned in my many years of life that 90% of the time when someone accuses you of doing something to them, they're usually the one doing it.
I'm chuckling because I can think of about 4 instances in the last couple of years where somebody has said something about me and my program and come to find out that they were covering their own tracks like a 3-legged cat in a sandbox.
That had just been fed some castor oil.
There you go. Hey, I got to run and do a commercial, but I do appreciate your insight. Thank you so much.
No, and that's something to think about.
Yep.
Nothing has been proven about the Russian meddling. Just all 17 intelligence agencies agree on it, which is baloney. And the intelligence agencies have not been forthright with Trump.
That's right.
Or the American people on what's going on. So I wouldn't. I've done exactly what President Trump did with Putin.
Well, when you have the lowlifes that have been at the hierarchy of the FBI, like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and they go before these hearings, and Peter Strzok just made an unbelievable jackass out of himself because of the lies and innuendos, and Lisa Page was following in suit like lockstep. What does that tell you about the hierarchy of our administrations, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the CIA, etc.? They did not want Trump to be president. They absolutely were in favor of Hillary Clinton, and it was all a contrived mess.
Yeah, and who would have said they would not give President Trump or elect President Trump false information so he could make bad decisions?
Absolutely. Doug, thank you. And, okay, 15 seconds.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, everybody. Let's take care of our seniors because, remember, they're the ones that have built this country and made it what it is today. It's time for us to help take care of them.
All right. He did it in actually 10.5 seconds. Thank you very much.
I'm good.
Oh, you are. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Hey, Oakley Pioneer Days is alive and well and in full swing. And later this morning, we're going to be talking to Cash Taylor up there at Oakley. Oakley merchants that want you to come on up and enjoy all the fun include Clark's for shopping. Oh, my goodness. Tom and Harlow and the crew appreciate all the support they've gotten from the people. And they want you to come up to the 131st Great Big Running of the Oakley Pioneer Days. Clark's for shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And boy, they've got all that wonderful, beautiful stone for fireplaces, headstones for a loved one, landscaping boulders, and so much more at Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main in Oakley. And last but not least, Searles at 120 North Center Street in Oakley. Ooh, boy, they've got everything. They got all the burgers, and they got all the specialty buns, and they got pizza. You'll never go hungry when you stop in at Searles, 120 North Center in Oakley. And speaking of Oakley Pioneer Days, holy mackerel. Here's the schedule for today. They're going to have tonight a great big team roping starting at 6 p.m. and tomorrow night the Moto Rodeo. Oh, this is a new event. Thursday night the Gymkhana, Friday and Saturday night the rodeo. And then they've got all kinds of things going on during the daytime too. I mean, and don't forget on Saturday that great big huge world famous Oakley Pioneer Day Parade at 11 o'clock. All of this and more at Oakley Pioneer Days, and it's all the rest of this week. Looking forward with faith, Oakley Pioneer Days. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. The Democrats right now, I believe, are crazed and dangerous. I believe from listening to some of these people that are in the Democratic Party and many of the liberals that they would rather sacrifice safety and peace just to go after and destroy Donald Trump. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. All they care about is feeding their hatred. Because they got their toes stepped on at the big dance in the last election. And they were told no. And the Democrats and the liberals don't like being told no. And I'm really concerned as to what's going to happen in this country if, like Tony said, they may possibly do anything they can, legally or illegally, to regain power. It is really, really scary. And I revert back again to this Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, 28-year-old socialist that absolutely hates the capitalist system here in the United States and wants to see it run over by a truck. And it's this kind of thinking, this kind of a socialism idea. Socialism has been a failure everywhere. Socialism is not going to work here in America. I still believe there's too many good people that want to go out and put their best foot forward. They want to try to succeed. They can succeed, and they can really do something with the gifts that God gave them. But not with people like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. Time for the weather, and then take more calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244. Don't forget our weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call, 312-0957. They can help you with your hearing loss. They can help you with your hearing problems. Believe me, they help me. They can help you. Absolutely. Trust your hearing health to Dr. Pickup and Dr. Mitchell. Call today for an appointment. 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Feels like we're smack dab in the middle of summer because, well, we are, and the weather is going to reflect that. Here is your weather forecast today for Zeb at the Ranch. Expecting sunny skies and a high of 90. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour. Expecting gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with the low right around 60. This high-pressure system is going to be sticking around with us for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, sunny skies, high of 94. Partly cloudy for Wednesday night with the low of 60. Thursday, again, sunny and 91, expecting the same for Friday. By Saturday, mostly sunny and 90. Saturday night, however, do have a slight chance of some thunderstorms before midnight with a low of 63. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
My, she does a great job on that weather. And these folks at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids do a great job providing a service to you for your hearing health. Get a hold of them today. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to make an appointment is 312-0957. 312-0957. Absolutely the best. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning again.
Again.
Yeah, I just called a while ago about the voter ID and all that. But here's another thing that I thought of. I have a friend who went to renew her driver's license. She's been driving for over 40 years. And she had to take in her marriage certificate, her divorce certificate, and her ex-husband's death certificate to prove who she was, because she went back to her maiden name.
Wow. And she did all that.
And she did.
And she took the time and the effort. She took the time and the effort to do everything that was asked of her, because she is a proud citizen of this great United States. But on the other side of the coin, we can't ask for voter ID to prove who these people are, because, and then we're bigots and hate mongers.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't begrudge citizens voting. That's not the point. But when you have to go leaps, and how many illegals can walk in there and say, hey, I want a driver's license.
Yeah.
And get one.
Yeah, and this is wrong. I am not in favor of providing driver's licenses, because that license with that picture affords them the luxury of crashing the party on many other items and circumstances that are more of an illegal problem.
Exactly. Well, yeah. I mean, and as far as going and getting welfare and everything else, prove who you are.
What is wrong? Honestly, somebody's got to help me on this, dear caller, because I've said this so many times in the past, it sounds like a broken record. What is wrong? What is so absolutely messing with someone else's affair to ask for an ID to prove who you are when you go into a voting area? I actually think it's a good thing. I don't mind it at all, taking my identification out, showing it to the poll people that are working there, proving who I am, proving that I'm worthy to vote in this great country. But the left says, that's prying into someone's life. We can't ask them to do that. Baloney.
Yeah, well, and probably where you vote and I vote both, you probably rub shoulders with the people who are sitting there checking your name off the list, and they, you go have coffee with them, you shoot the breeze with them, whatever.
Yeah.
They know you. You don't need to pull out your ID, but Idaho law code, whatever, says you have to, so you do.
I don't mind doing it.
I don't either.
And I just absolutely cringe at the absolutely stupid responses the left gives for excuses not to have people do this. I just absolutely have no time for that.
Exactly.
I appreciate you. You've called back twice, and each time you've made my temperature go up another degree. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, and then Mother Nature's going to really boost it.
All right, have a great day. Thank you so much. Oh, hang on, caller. I'll be right there. Don't forget the Burley Area Merchants Association, BAMA, is going to have their great big sidewalk sales on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, July 19, 2021, from 6 in the morning until 6 p.m. at night. Holy moly, they're going to get there early. Support your local merchants. You can stock up on all kinds of goodies at the Bama Sidewalk Sales. Burley Area Merchants Association, July 19, 20, and 21. 6 in the morning? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Try to level out your temperature just a little bit.
All right, go ahead. Have a try.
This is the good news guy from the Senior Center. Today we're having sloppy joes and all the trimmings, yummy dessert, and we will invite everybody to be there, young and old, up to about 105.
Okay.
That includes you.
Well, I appreciate that. By the way, I've got a little quiz for you. Where do you suppose they got the name and the terminology Sloppy Joes?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes sometimes they can be sloppy, but they're good.
Joe, I really appreciate your calls, and I know you're doing all you can for the Senior Junction Senior Center on Overland. You do a great job, and you are the good news guy. It's always a great day to talk to you. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Good day.
God bless you, my dear friend. Hey, happy birthday wishes go out to a couple of great guys, Bruce Ford and Larry Mathieson. Both Bruce Ford and Larry Mathieson are sharing a birthday today, and on behalf of my wife and myself and Zeb at the ranch, happy birthday. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see, what else have I got going? Oh, for those that are the Trump haters, the numbers are out again, and wow. Underline the word wow. Our economy is growing in leaps and bounds. And I just wonder how the Democrats and the liberals can explain that away from the Trump administration for the last 2 years. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know, the tax cut that's coming up now, number 2 as they call it, is going to cost $1 trillion, according to Fox News. How are we going to reduce our national debt with this increase? Do you have any idea?
No, I am not an economist, but I can tell you this much. I think that the tax cuts that are being proposed by the administration, more tax cuts, are going to be a great stimulus in an economy that is showing absolutely positive signs. People are spending more money, thus people are receiving more money. And with the receiving of more money, there are more investments going on in other projects. You know, if you want to talk about turnovers of dollars, it was estimated, Keith, and I know a lot of events share the same kind of an estimation, that when they have the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas for those 10 days, the dollars that are generated by all the people coming in from all over the world, they estimate those dollars turn over 5 and 6 times in the local economy, and everything that those people spend on is absolutely helping the economy grow and prosper.
Yeah, and the really wonderful thing about it, because I have all of my kids have jobs and everything, and if it even amounts to $20 a paycheck, that's something that they can spend somewhere else.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point. You know, like for Deanne and I, if all of a sudden at the end of the month, we've got a whole bunch of month left, but not very much money left, and then all of a sudden you find that you got 20 or 40 bucks. Hey, you know what? We're going to go out and we're going to treat ourselves, maybe to a dinner someplace, or maybe we're going to go out. Whatever the case might be, it's nobody's business, but I'm stimulating the economy with that extra money that after I've got all the bills paid, that's mine to use for me.
I am so glad that we have a businessman for the President of the United States, which we have not had. Ronald Reagan was really not a businessman. He made a lot of money and probably had other businesses, but this man, Donald Trump, has been up and down the road, and it hasn't been easy at times, but he's always made the decisions that have put him on top.
I agree with you.
I admire this man.
I agree with you, and it's about and the one thing I like about Trump, and I know a lot of people probably won't like the way I say this, I don't care if he's liked or disliked, as long as he gets the job done that makes America better. Does that make sense?
That makes great sense.
All right, my friend. God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I know every one of these places and locations, and they are so good at serving you. If you're getting ready for a road trip, maybe you're going to New Mexico, the Roadrunner State, or maybe you're headed back to Illinois, the land of Lincoln, or maybe you're headed to California. Be careful. Make sure that you've got the best of tires for your vehicle, whether it's a car, a pickup, SUV, all your camp trailers, horse trailers, boat trailers, everything. They've got all the tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the different tread design, all the sizes, many of which are on sale right now. Stop in and see the best, and they will give you the best of service, too. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Don't go away. Oh, my. Good morning on a Tuesday, July 17th. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Stop in and see them today. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, without further ado, here's a good word for Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Way Services. Hey, by the way, they've got the dumpsters in various sizes, and if you can kind of gauge, well, let's see, my basement looks like that, I better get a big one. Well, they'll deliver it, you fill it up, they'll come and get it. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. I urge you to get on the route service to have your garbage picked up. I urge you to check on the dumpsters and all the porta potties for the picnics and the family reunions and everything. Oh, they've got it all for you. Absolutely. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Want to remind you, too, about some really, really good friends of ours, Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Now, Dr. Bill and Dr. Jordan and the whole crew, watch out, they say, for cheatgrass or foxtails underneath the skin of your pet, and then you've really got trouble. They're a mixed animal practice, meaning itty-bitty kitty cats or great big dairy cows. They serve them all, make sure they're all healthy, and they'll help you. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. By the way, too, some folks that are absolutely community-oriented and helping all the folks in this area, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. And I want to urge you to get a hold of Joel Heward, his family, and his staff as they serve you at Hanson Mortuary. When there's the passing of a loved one, do not forget they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity of serving you, your family, in a real time of need. Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward, and Joel also serving you at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line. I said earlier that we were going to have Cash Taylor on our program. They've changed that on me, and we have another gentleman, I believe, that was on the program with us last year, representing Oakley Pioneer Days, and his name is Steve Staley. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good morning, my longtime friend. How are you doing?
Not too shabby. How's everything up in the good town of Oakley for Pioneer Days?
Well, you know, we had some clouds over the last couple of days, so it's cooled off a little bit. But we're hanging in there, and we're looking forward to the faith this year with our Oakley Pioneer Day celebration. And we've got something going on every night for the rest of the week up until Saturday. And I'll tell you what, it's getting ready to be a good time, and we're looking forward to seeing all the friendly faces come out for our annual celebration.
I got to ask you something before we get started on the calendarization of all the different events and everything, Steve, but please share with us how the bump and rub car race went.
It went really well. We had some spectacular events. We had a car rollover. We had a couple of really hard rear endings, and yeah, it was a good event, good time. I hope the crowd enjoyed coming out to the show. We ended up with the event winner was Travis Worthington of the Maine Bump and Rub, and then we had our grudge match that Nathan Brown took on the win for that. So we had about 15 or 16 cars out there, and we had a really good time.
You know, I'll tell you what's the difference, really and honestly, of having a bump and rub car race or driving at noon on Blue Lakes Boulevard in Twin Falls?
The only difference is the glass isn't in the car. Out there to the bump and rub.
Hey, tonight.
Yeah, it's... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, tonight you're going to start things off for a full week of activity, and I don't know how you cram all this stuff in, but you're going to start with the big team roping tonight at 6 p.m., I believe.
That's correct. We've got the S&M team roping coming up, starts at 6. We've got a number 13 handicap up and down. We've got a number 10 capped at a 6 elite healer, and they're both pick one, draw one, or straight draw for $100. The 3-steer electric eye. If you'd like more information, contact Derek, and his number is 208-431-6300.
All right, now tomorrow night, I wanted to mention that you're trying something new, a new addition to the already famous Oakley Pioneer Days, and it's a moto rodeo. What in the world is a moto rodeo?
Okay, a moto rodeo is your timed events where you have barrels and poles, and they take their ATV, UTV, and motorcycles and ride them through that serpentine or in that pattern. And the one that comes out with the best time is the winner. Now, this is not anything new to this area, but we wanted to have something more going on for the kids. And there's a lot of kids that show up to these things, Zeb. And when I mean a lot of kids, I mean you'd see more little motorcycles out there than you would see anywhere around here except for a motocross track. And they really get a good kick out of it. So we've got that going on Wednesday night, 6 p.m., and entry fee is $25. For child entries is $15. There's going to be cash prizes, limited entries on each age division. So if you want to get in on that action, you need to contact Brett Jones at 208-300-0236. Again, that's 300-0236. And that's a $5 admission if you want to come out and be a spectator, and 6 and under are free.
Okay. All right. Now, one of the events that absolutely, and I've talked to people over the years that said, holy smokes, we were there until 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes, and that's that great, big, huge, world-famous Gymkhana at Oakley on Thursday night.
It is, and it really is quite world-famous, or at least county-wide famous, and there's been some nights we've been out there burning the midnight oil and beyond that. We have calf riding going on out there, sheep riding, poles, barrels, roping events, mutton busting, bull riding. There's buckles awarded to the rough stock, poles, and barrels. The sign-up fee for each event is $5. Now, this is an amateur contestant rodeo, so that's 16 and under. And we've already taken all of our entries for this, but if you'd like more information and possibly to squeeze in underneath the line for the entry, you need to contact our good President Cash Taylor. His number is 208-430-2479.
All right. Now, of course, every year the Oakley Pioneer Days has a great rodeo. This year you're going to have on Friday and Saturday night the open rodeo at 7:30 p.m. What are the highlights of the open rodeo?
Our open rodeo this year, it has everything going on that we would normally see in a rodeo. This year we have ranch broncs, and that has an enter twice option. We've got all the other events that you would see, except for we have a new event this year that we're adding on Friday night, and that is going to be our wild horse racing.
Oh, boy.
Now, that's something a little new for us, and we're looking to see how it goes. But we've got our wild horse racing on Friday night and our wild cow riding on Saturday night, and that's $80 per team to get entered up on that. And if you'd like more information on that, contact, again, Cash Taylor at 430-2479. And for the admission on this, it's going to be $8 for adults, 65 plus, and 4 to 10 is $5, and 3 and under are free.
Now, also with the rodeo, don't you have some great big dancing and fireworks going on too?
We do. Friday night, we've got our dance going on, and that's going to be the Saddle Strings band, and that's out to the park after the rodeo until 1 o'clock, and that's in the Oakley City Park.
Okay.
Saturday night, we have our grand finale, which is the fireworks that we shoot off there at the Oakley Rodeo Grounds, or just adjacent to the Oakley Rodeo Grounds. And I'll tell you what, for a little town the size of Oakley, we shoot off a lot of fireworks, Zeb.
Steve, one of the things that I was made aware of last time I had Cash on the phone is that with all these events we're talking about in the evening, when it comes Friday and Saturday, you've got a ton of events that are going to take place during the daytime. Can you give us a quick rundown on those?
Absolutely. We've got our Friday and Saturday. We have our 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and if you want more information on that, contact Jeff Bedke at 208-312-3203 or Mark Mace at 509-628-6323. That's a 2-day 3-on-3 basketball tournament. You got to get on that. There's a lot of teams that come from all over to participate in that, and it's a good time. On Friday, we also have our 4-on-4 co-ed grass volleyball tournament, and that's going to be at the Oakley High School football field at 8 o'clock. It's $80 a team. Must have 2 female players to get on that action. But if you'd like to find out more information, contact Jill Hardy at 208-300-7865. Then we also have on Saturday. Saturday's our big day. Everybody comes out. They come out for the parade. They come out for the chuck wagon breakfast. We have entertainment in the park. It starts at 12:30 p.m. and runs till 2:30. We also have vendors in the park. We have our Chuck Wagon Breakfast. It starts at 7 a.m. and runs until 10 at City Park, and that's put on by the Oakley Booster Club. The Oakley Pool is going to be open, so it's going to be hot, I guarantee it. And a good place to cool down is going to be at the Oakley Pool, and they'll be open all day there, closing at 7 p.m. The Oakley Valley Museum will also be open. We have our Goose Creek runoff going on Saturday morning, and I don't know what time it starts, but it's pretty early. And if you'd like to find out, you can go to www.oakley.org goosecreekrunoff.com or contact Jackie Bedke at 208-431-8589. And that's a 10K, 5K, and kids race. Lots of fun for the family.
Oh, and by the way, I understand that the magnificent actors and actresses are going to have Annie as their presentation at Howell's Opera House. Is that correct?
I'm glad you brought that up, Zeb. Yes, Annie is going on right now at Howell's Opera House.
Are you still there? All of a sudden, I got a feeling that his phone went into the great beyond. Steve Staley? Steve Staley, if you're there, call back. We still haven't talked about the big parade. He just all of a sudden disappeared. Hey, wait a minute. I'll tell you what, Steve, if you can hear me or anybody knows Steve, call him back and say, hey, Steve, you died in the middle of a sentence. There he is. Are you back?
He should be there, sir.
Steve, are you there?
I am here. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Well, all of a sudden it went dead, and I thought, man, you got mad at me in a big hurry.
No, sir, not at all. Never.
All right, well, tell us real quick, and all of a sudden the connection's not so good. Talk real loud. The Pioneer Day Parade Saturday at 11 o'clock. Tell us about that.
Okay, so that starts at 11. Our Grand Marshals are going to be Basil and Rowene Fairchild, and the lineup starts at 10 a.m. If you'd like to get in on the parade, contact Debbie Gibby at 208-312-2654. And we have honored pioneers that are going to be out there. We have our Grand Marshals, and I guarantee you, for the size of parade, you will not find more candy passed out around here.
Hey, tell me a little bit about the Oakley Vigilantes. You know, this organization, I met these folks way back in 1970 when I first announced over at Oakley. Boy, you guys really put on a jam-up event, and how do you go about getting people on your various committees, etc.?
Well, we've got our one main committee, and that is the Oakley Vigilantes, and it's a board put together of volunteers that are requested to asked to join the group. And what it is, we just try to put together wholesome family fun for the community. And when we're done putting together the shows, we're a non-for-profit. And what we do is, where we see a need in the community that needs filled, we try to help out with that. If it's, it's playground equipment, or if it's teams that need jerseys, or if it's somebody in the community that's had a really bad, misfortunate incident happen to them or their family, we try to help them out. That's what we're there for. And we try to put together projects and work with that, and then, put on this great celebration and get everybody out to Oakley and enjoy their family time with one another and have some entertainment.
Well, now,
as far as how long we've been doing this, I don't know, Zeb. I've been on the board about 5 or 6 years now, and we just keep plugging away, because that's all we can do, is just take it one step at a time, 1 year at a time, and we try to put on the best entertainment that we can.
Absolutely. Now, the theme this year, Steve, is looking forward with faith. I like that theme. How do you go about selecting a theme on a per annum basis?
Well, that comes down to the steak, and I left out the Oakley Steak Beef Barbecue, but we have a lot of good men in our area out here, and they look forward to this every year, and looking forward with faith is our theme for the Pioneer Day celebration. And as far as how it's discussed and how it comes about, I don't exactly know, but I know one of these days I probably will. But they pick that name out, and they pick that theme out, and we have different themes as they go on throughout the years. And here a couple of years ago, we remembered our great flood that we had, and it was coincidentally we almost had another one. So I don't know if it's divine inspiration that puts the theme forward, or what it is exactly, but we run with it every year, and it seems to fit, even though they pick it out in January or February, the year before the events happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, you folks up at Oakley can be doggone proud of everything that you've done over the 131 years of Oakley Pioneer Days. Steve Staley, board member of the Oakley Vigilantes, thank you for being on the program. God bless, and have a wonderful, fun-filled week.
All the
same to you, Zeb. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, sir. Thank you. You know, these folks put forth so much effort. I don't care if it's a basketball tournament. I don't care if it's the Chuck Wagon breakfast. I don't care if it's the parade. I don't care if it's a team roping. I don't care if it's the gymkhana or the rodeo. They do a heck of a job up there at Oakley, and all of us should be very, very proud of the Oakley Vigilantes' 131st presentation of Oakley Pioneer Days. Absolutely great. Oh, my goodness sakes. I want to remind you, on Thursday, we have a program at 10:30. I get more calls over this. People are saying, is he really out fishing when he calls you? Yes. Yes, he is. Old Josh, the fishing expert at Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard, he actually is in the water someplace. I mean, standing in a stream, or has a boat on the lake, or he's standing on a riverbank someplace. He's actually fishing while he's talking to us on the air. And boy, he tells us about what to catch, what's the best tackle, where to go, and all this kind of thing. All of this on behalf of Sportsman's Warehouse, and it's on at 10:32 on Thursday mornings. The Old Fishing Hole, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Really good folks. By the way, too, you know that the Burley Area Merchants Association, better known as BAMA, I love that name, BAMA. They're going to have their big sidewalk sales on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, July 19th through the 21st. And it says 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Holy moly, they're going to get there early in the morning. And the local merchants with the big annual sidewalk sale, great, great deals. You don't want to miss this. It's going to be exciting. You can stock up on all kinds of goodies that you've been looking for, whether it's back to school or even up to Christmas. Shop till you drop. Burley Area Merchants Association BAMA sidewalk sales, July 19th, 20th, and 21st. I have time for a call if you want to give me a jingle on the land. I watched that home run derby last night, and it was absolutely spellbinding because of the power. I mean the raw power of these home run hitters in the major leagues. Now, I was partial, I admit, to the Cubs, and they had Javier Baez and Kyle Schwarber that were competing on behalf of the Chicago Cubs, and Schwarber made it all the way to the finals and took on Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals, and it was exciting. And bang, bang, bang out of the ballpark. 460, 470-foot home runs. Woo! They lost a lot of baseballs last night, let me tell you. And Bryce Harper won in front of his hometown fans at Washington National Stadium last night. It was really something to see. Some of those shots, wow, they were, as are called, moonshots. And they were really home runs. Let's see, what else have I got cooking here? Oh, I want to remind you about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. My old friend Jeff and the crew over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. My. They're going through right now a great big red, white, and blue sale. All this month of July. They've got floor coverings in stock on sale, carpeting in stock on sale, and they've got love seats in stock, bedroom groups in stock on sale. Oh, and a red-hot special for July, mattresses, a closeout. You better get in there. You could save between 30 and 50%. That's right, 12 months interest-free. I'm telling you, that's the place to go. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see these great folks today. Oh, my goodness. In just a few minutes, we're going to get the lovely Miss Vicki on the program and have Vicki's Country Gardens and all that she knows about gardening and everything else on the air, so stay tuned for that. While we have just a minute, I also want to acknowledge the fact that you need to get out. You need to get out and have some fun. You need to get out and enjoy the great outdoors. Well, why don't you stop over to Let's Ride at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World and check out the ATVs, check out the watercrafts, check out the side-by-sides, the Honda Pioneer side-by-sides. Can I say that again, please? Honda Pioneer side-by-sides. Easy if you try. And they've got all the accessories, too, over at Let's Ride. I mean all the accessories. And don't forget the best doggone service department around anywhere to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This is the truth. This is where the fun is sold. Let me see. What have I got going on tomorrow? Guess who's going to be on the program tomorrow? Yep, at 10 o'clock. Yes, sirree, Bobby. It's the Incredible Bulk from the Idaho Fishing Game. He's missed a couple of months on the show. And so Kelton Hatch is going to be here tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Unless he comes up with another excuse, we're going to have him on the air talking about the fishing and the hunting and everything else. He's going to probably talk about the draws. And we got all kinds of things coming up. Caller, good morning. Quickly, I got a minute left.
1 whole minute. Well, you want me to call back?
No, because I haven't got any other minutes. They're all sponsored. Quickly, see if you can't do it in a minute. I dare you.
Well, yeah, I can't. You know that, Zeb. Anyway, the Oakley parade and so forth. I was up and taking pictures of wildflowers at Mount Harrison toward the end of it was the 23rd. And then we went down and drove through the City of Rocks and so forth, come back into Oakley, and by guys, they were having a parade for my birthday.
Oh, really?
It was wonderful.
Well, they just welcomed you into the city.
Parade.
Well, they do a wonderful job, Adrian, and I've got to get to Miss Vicky, but I absolutely think the people in Oakley should pat themselves on the back. They do one heck of a job every year for Pioneer Days.
And people need to go down there and take advantage of all the activities going on. I'd recommend it.
All right, Adrian. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Got to go. With that, we know on the other line is a lovely lady that absolutely is so very subtle in her actions and her words and just absolutely so nice and never causes a ripple. Here she is, the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens.
All righty then, Zeb. That's quite an intro.
Yeah.
I can live up to that one.
Well, sometimes I just flat run out of things to say.
Obviously, you were kind of grabbing there for a little.
Oh, I mean, I had the knot of the rope and I was slipping.
Yeah, I'll bet.
What's going on over there?
Besides the heat, not a lot. I mean, we've still got a lot of stuff in here to do. We've got all of the insecticides and that, and I mean, right now, that's what people need to be aware of, is there are bugs, and then there are bugs, and then there's more bugs.
Uh-huh.
And so it takes different kinds to do different things. Sod webworm is showing up in the lawns really bad, turning the lawns brown. Sometimes it's dry, sometimes it's sod web. So different ways of testing that. Cabbage worms are out. They're eating the cabbages, and the earwigs are eating anything they can come by, and the grasshoppers are moving in. But other than that, it's a lovely day in the neighborhood.
Well, you know, you sound like Mr. Rogers in reverse, but, I mean, have you ever really stopped and analyzed all the bad dudes in the world that are out to either kill us, eat us, or put us asunder?
Oh, that's exactly out there, boy. And this year it has been it's just been unreal, the amount with that wet spring that we had and that winter that wasn't cold enough to kill anything. It's been a bad one for just about everything. Everything, the fungus, the bugs, the rodents, they're all out there.
Wow. Now, are we making any headway, or do we just throw our hands up in the air and say, here, take my doggone garden and eat it?
Oh, no, there's ways of stopping all of that kind of stuff. And I've got a lot of people that are really enjoying their gardens right now. The beets are coming off. I mean, everybody's enjoying a lot of fresh produce out of the gardens and things. And so now it makes it where it's not quite as much of a hassle to go out and doctor and dust for bugs and spray for fungus and that, because you are reaping some benefits. It's not just all work and nothing to eat. So
Yeah.
it's coming on. Everything's growing good. This heat's bringing things around a lot from the cold weather that we've been having, and just a simple fact is you got to keep your eyes open and watch for what's going on with your plants. Don't let them get too far ahead of you on those bugs, because they can eat them down to nothing in a very short period of time.
I had a letter from a very, very nice lady that said she has a garden in the Burley area. And it was a nice long letter. She talked about my program and everything. And then she said, it looks like something is eating and nibbling on almost all of my garden. Should I, as far as like the corn and everything, should I throw it away if I notice they've been nibbling on it, or can I wash it and still use it?
Oh, you can still use things. You just have to wash things good. It kind of depends on what's doing the nibbling.
Yeah.
A lot of people have had rabbits that have been causing a problem. Most of the time, though, it's just an insect, an earwig, something to that effect that's doing the chewing. And once you get rid of them, you're good to go. I mean, you can just kind of cut out the parts that they've chewed on a little bit. But strawberries and that are having little problems with the little black bugs that get down in there, and that's when I say kind of cut your strawberry leaves back and open it up and aerate it out just a little bit so that those berries can get some sunlight and not quite so much moisture, so the bugs don't like them so well. And those are the kind of things that we've got going on right now. But, I don't know what's nibbling on her garden, but if it's anything too large, then shoot the varmint. I don't know.
Yeah. What about mice and rodents, though? I mean, is there a danger in using the produce after they've been gnawing on it?
Well, I would definitely suggest take a deep cut, like if it's in potatoes or something to that effect, take a deep cut and get all of that out of there and wash them good.
Yeah.
You can always use about a 5% peroxide blend to spray your vegetables, like the vegetables you buy at the store and the ones bringing out of your garden, and that will help with the bacteria and that kind of thing that could be on them.
Okay.
But a 5% peroxide, just hydrogen peroxide mixed up 5 to 10%, and spray everything and then wash them, and that kind of helps take care of that kind of stuff too.
Okay. Now, what about, Deanne took a note down here, and she said that you, on behalf of Vicky's Country Garden, have a new shipment of hibiscus plants. Okay. What in the heck is a hibiscus plant?
It's probably one of the prettiest perennials that you could ever put in your garden. I mean, they come back every year. They're a nice big plant. They look very, very tropical. Great big flowers. Some of them have like 6-inch flowers that come on them, and they start blooming about now, and they bloom all of the rest of the summer. Very pretty. Some of them have got the black leaves with the hot pink flowers that come out on them. There's lots of different colors in the flowers. They'll get up about 3 foot tall and about 3 foot wide, and just be solid flowers pretty much all the rest of the summer. Probably one of the prettiest plants you'll ever see.
3 foot tall and about 3 feet wide. Sounds like a fat midget in a circus.
It's kind of that kind of, except this one has really pretty flowers.
Okay.
They're easy to grow in our area. They like the east side of the house, kind of keep them out of that hot sun.
Okay.
Like we like to stay out of, and water them good, fertilize them with with a basic fertilizer, and they do fine. They'll come back every year for you.
What about, though, is it too late to fertilize gardens? I mean, is the deed already done, or do we need you need to still fertilize?
Right now is a prime time to fertilize. They've been struggling a little bit, and if you fertilized when you planted, now's the time to give them that boost and get them going.
Okay.
Especially the corn.
Oh.
Corn needs a good nitrogen boost right now. All of the garden can use a good all-around fertilizer, good garden fertilizer on it right now. Just put it in the ground, water it to them, and you'll see a big difference of how they set. They're starting to set on the fruits and vegetables, and they'll just set on a lot bigger, a lot heavier, a lot more plentiful if they've got a little bit of something to live on.
You know, what you said last week on the program about the corn in general, I thought was looking a little bit puny. Holy smokes, over the last week with all this heat, shot up like Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes, it does, and that's what corn likes, is the heat. I mean, it does like heat, and when it's growing like this, it's really, really using all the nitrogen out of your soil. So that's why I'm saying it's growing fast right now, so feed it so it can make sure it's got everything it needs to keep going.
Okay.
And
now,
just side dress it a little bit with just some cheap nitrogen fertilizer. You can buy just lawn fertilizer and just come down along the side of the row of your corn, not right on the corn, but about 2 inches away from the stalk, and then let the water take it to it. You'll see it just keep right on growing from here on out.
well, and with this heat, I'm sure I know what you're going to tell me, but tell others again. Early morning watering, and do we add more time duration of watering because of the heat?
Kind of depending on your soil, but if you've got a real sandy soil, yes, I would increase your watering a little bit, or do an early morning and then possibly a light one in the evening. But don't get it too wet. Don't use too much. Don't go, double up your watering or anything, because you can cause a lot of problems with that when plants are sitting there in water and they're getting really hot. So a nice deep watering of an evening sets them up and they're ready for the heat for the day, or a nice early morning. If you're sprinkling, like I say, make sure it's an early morning one.
Okay. Now,
or late evening.
The one thing I've noticed is the weeds are having a field day, and you've got a lot of great Fertilome products that can take care of those weeds, right?
We do have. We have the product that's just like Preen. It's just our brand. It's our Fertilome brand. That'll do the same thing with the weeds, get them out of there, and then put the Preen down. That helps it. What that does is stops seeds from germinating. And so that way your kosher seeds and your dandelions and that kind of thing won't germinate. Gives you a couple of 3 months, coverage on that. We have, and that's safe for gardens and that type of thing. We also have the weed mat that you can put down in between your rows that will keep the weeds down also and help keep the moisture in the ground also.
Okay. It is time for the Vicky's Country Garden Tip of the Week.
All right, as usual, we're talking 100-degree temperatures like tomorrow and the next day and that. So my thought is keep the iced tea nice and cold. Keep your umbrella handy. Get your watering and your all that kind of thing done either early morning, late evening. Sit back, relax with some nice iced tea or a nice cold adult beverage and enjoy life.
I think I'm going to join your club. Absolutely. Well, now, what about, here we are, mid-July, and what are the hours that you're open over at Vicky's Country Gardens?
Okay, our hours right now are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and 9 to 3 on Saturdays, and we are closed on Sunday. But we are in here watering on Sundays, and so if there's something we can do to help you, like with some bark or rock or something to that effect, give us a call, set up a time frame, we'll make it work for you. And make sure we don't want anybody not having anything to do on a Saturday or a Sunday. So
absolutely.
Make sure you've got some rock or some bark to shovel if you need to.
And speaking of which, if they have questions about making more of a beautiful project around their home, you've got some great ideas for them too, right?
Oh, we do have, yeah. We've got a lot of things blooming right now. Got some good perennials in, a lot of, still got some nice trees and shrubs, that type of thing. So, yeah, we're more than willing to help with anything like that, any project you've got going. Not a problem there. And like I say, we do have our new hibiscus in that are going to be blooming like crazy. So they need to at least come in and see them. And I still have those scented geraniums for you, Zeb, that you can put on your horse.
I am so excited.
You would look so cute with one of those stuck behind your saddle, or at least a leaf in your ear.
Easy there, Miss Vicky. I have control of the switch.
There you go.
Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, this lovely lady. I love her. She's always a lot of fun. 438-5663. Have a great day. Stay cool, and I'll be over for that adult beverage at 4:30.
You got it.
All right.
No problem.
Take care, Vicky. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
All righty. I tell you what, she is just something really special. Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. Absolutely the best. Hey, don't forget, too, over in that area, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. All of this and more with our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, they are dedicated and responsive to your needs. And very accessible. All you need to do is just give them a call. They can help you. They will help you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call to make the appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. I think we'd better get a weather forecast on here real quick. And the weather is brought to you this hour by our friends at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. You know, these folks really care about tax return preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company with offices in Burley and Rupert. And I talked to Lyden Crane. He sent me a really nice note. People need to be aware there were some big changes in tax rates and deductions with the passing of that 2018 PATH Act. You need to find out for you, your family, and your business about these big changes. Get a hold of Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company today. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Feels like we're smack dab in the middle of summer because, well, we are, and the weather is going to reflect that. Here is your weather forecast today for Zeb at the Ranch, expecting sunny skies and a high of 90. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, expecting gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low right around 60. This high-pressure system is going to be sticking around with us for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, sunny skies, high of 94, partly cloudy for Wednesday night with a low of 60. Thursday, again, sunny and 91, expecting the same for Friday. By Saturday, mostly sunny and 90. Saturday night, however, you'll have a slight chance of some thunderstorms before midnight with a low of 63. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate her. Gina doing a great job. And our sponsor for the weather, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Yes, if you're starting a business, a partnership, or a corporation, or you want to hire more employees and expand your business, you've probably got a lot of questions. Well, go to them for the answers. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Excellent people. Let's see, what else have I got here real quick before I get too far down the road? I mentioned tomorrow the Fish and Game Report with Kelton Hatch, and also Dave Bego. Dave Bego is going to be on the program with us tomorrow, and we're looking forward to his political insight, and he really knows all about the unions and what they're trying to do across the country. And right now, we're going to get in preparation for some dear friends of mine. I'll tell you what, meeting Vic and the rest of the crew over at Stoats Equipment Company has been to my benefit. Absolutely, Stoats Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley. They do make your life easier. And right now, we're going to listen to Vic and the folks at Stoats Equipment with the Ag Minutes.
Welcome to Stoats Equipment Ag Minutes, featuring innovative ideas and people that are dedicated to serving agriculture and you. Stoats Equipment, your John Deere authorized dealer, 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. They make your life easier. 5 words sum up Stoats Equipment's dedication to serving you. Quality, integrity, loyalty, caring, and community. Stoats Equipment is your John Deere equipment dealer, providing everything from tractors to combines, swathers to lawnmowers. At Stoats Equipment, they care about their customers, and like their slogan says, we make your life easier. From large ag farm equipment to small compact utility tractors, Stoats Equipment works diligently for local customers to get the best deals. Stoats Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley. Stop in and see them today. We're on the line right now with Vic Carataccia, the store manager of Stoats Equipment, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland in Burley. And Vic,
I can't imagine who sits behind the desk and comes up with all these new ideas, innovative ideas, for bigger and better equipment to serve large agricultural operations, whether it's a big farm, a dairy, etc. Wow, some of the equipment just absolutely sets me back.
Well, and I think it's mind-blowing for us as well, because every year we have a new model, we have a new product, and I think that's what puts John Deere on the forefront of the equipment provided to our farmers and our dairymen and ranchers, because they're constantly looking ways to make it better, to make it bigger, to make it more efficient. So we're always having to stay on that cutting edge of technology, and we embrace it because we know with innovation comes better ideas and hopefully more simplicity and also better efficiency.
When you look at the overall operations of, let's say, the dairy industry, as a matter of fact, do you and the John Deere people, do they talk to these various individuals, ask them what would be more time efficient and better productivity? I mean, how do you go about evolving certain pieces of equipment that would work for specific ag operations?
I think it's exactly what you just said. How do we do that? Is by asking why, how, what can we do better? A lot of people are afraid for the answer to that question, but we're not. We embrace that because the only way we can be better, the only way we can better understand their operation is what can we do better, what do you need, and then we basically look for better ways to help them. And with the dairies and the pricing of milk and everything else that goes along with it, we got to constantly find ways to make them more efficient. And agriculture equipment, let's face it, it's not cheap. And the products are so comparison now as far as their technology, as far as their the product they actually create. But what makes a difference is the dealer, and I've been told that time and time again. So customer service is a key for us.
I would imagine that you really, I know you well enough by now, that you really like a hands-on approach to the various people in all facets of agriculture to come by Stoats Equipment and just sit down or go out and show them the equipment, let them get in the equipment, take it apart, and really understand how it works. Is that what you do?
Absolutely. We encourage everyone to come in, and I always tell them, look, I want you to come in and drive it. I want you to put your butt in that seat and drive it around. Make sure it's right for you. Things look good on paper, things look good in a picture, but you need to come out and actually touch it and make sure it's right. And we're not in a hurry to sell you anything, because the last thing I want to do is tell you something wrong. So I wanted to go out there and make sure it's going to fit your needs now and for the future. And we also do that with our company as well. We actually own a dairy. A lot of people don't know that, but we have about 9,000 head of Holstein cattle. And the reason we do that is because it helps us understand the needs of the farmer, the dairyman, the rancher, and so we definitely invest a lot of time in finding ways and looking into what their needs are, and the best way to do that is just to experience it ourselves.
And, of course, any company relies on its service to its customers. And talk a little bit about the great service work you provide.
Well, it takes a team, like they say, it takes the village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village here to help our customers, and we have a great group of guys, and I think our team has really done well here in Burley. I'm very, very proud of them, what they've done, and we took a culture they weren't used to, which is customer service, and we key on that, and they've embraced it and taken it to the next level, and I think the customers are finding out that we're here for the long run, and we only want to sell them something that's going to be right for them, and we want to make sure they're taken care of. And we're here 24 hours a day, and you can get us in my cell phone's posted just as well as anybody, so we're here when you need us.
And, of course, I want to stress the fact that not only are you there when they need them, but, by golly, the office hours of Stoats Equipment, what are the hours and the days that you're open?
So we're actually open Monday through Saturday. We're open from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night on Monday through Friday. We're open from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock on Saturday, but we have 24-hour service for both parts and service and sales. So really, you can get a hold of us any time of the day. And if you need us to run here and the store's closed, we'd be glad to do that as well, because our whole thing is, if we're not taking care of you, there's no us. So we got to be there when when you need us.
Wonderful people serving agriculture. The folks at Stoats Equipment, 119 Overland and Burley, and, of course, they make your life easier. Thanks for listening to Stoats Equipment's Ag Minutes, your John Deere equipment dealer at 119 Overland and Burley. At Stoats, they want to make your life easier.
Oh, wonderful people is right. I'll tell you what, outstanding crew over there at Stoats Equipment, your John Deere dealer. Thank you very much. Want to remind you, during the course of the summer, I think sometimes we get a little complacent and we get a little weary of driving in the sun and having the sun beating in the windshield and the hot temperatures and oh my goodness. You've got to really watch out and make sure everything is A-OK. Yesterday, going into Twin, I almost got involved in 2 major accidents, people going through intersections. And they stopped and they just pulled ahead and not looked one way or the other. So please be careful out there and stay off your cell phones while you're driving. In both instances where the vehicles pulled out in front of us, we didn't have a stop. We were on a thoroughfare going through an intersection, and they were on their cell phones. So please drive carefully out there all through southern Idaho. What have you got for me? Okay, I got that. Thank you. Don't forget, too, what's going on with the Burley Area Merchants Association, BAMA. Like we've been telling you, they're going to have their great big sidewalk sales, world-famous sidewalk sales, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, July 19, 20, and 21. And support the local merchants at the big annual sidewalk sale. Great deals at all the Bama merchants. You can stock up on all the school clothes. You can check out items all the way up to Christmas, for heaven's sakes. You can just shop till you're about ready to drop at the sidewalk sales for Bama. Burley Area Merchants Association going on July 19, 20, and 21. In just a few minutes, we're going to have the world-renowned traveler, Dr. History, come on our program. And Dr. History is listened to by I don't know how many countries all around the globe. They just really enjoy the cowboy spirit and the cowboy heritage of the Old West, and Dr. History presents that for us on Dr. History. As a matter of fact, the the door is opening right now, and Ruby, our guard dog, she has a 1-inch vertical jump and can bite no higher than your ankle. She is our protector, and Dr. History's on his way into the studio. Wheels, I need you to turn the sound up a little bit that's going into my headsets. We're having a little trouble hearing some of the callers and some of the interviews, and if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. Okay, buddy?
Yeah, hold up, let me see here real quick. Yeah, you're all set to go.
All right, you're going to check everything out. And, by the way, what is the current temperature over there at the K-Bar Studios? Do you have that accessible to you right now?
Give me, 1 second.
1 second. He's going to roll over to the window. He's going to put a little saliva on his finger, and then he's going to check the temperature. If it starts to sizzle, it's really doggone hot, right?
So, right now it says on my phone that it is 71 degrees.
I don't think so. I think it's a lot warmer than... I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a look here real quick. Hold on. I'm going to give you what I have on my phone, and then we're going to compare apples for apples. Right now on my phone, I have 78.
Ooh, okay. We're close, so we'll just leave it at that. We're between 70 and 78.
Boy, that's quite a margin. All right, well, we're going to send it back over to you for the news from CBS, and then the world-renowned Dr. History is next. Don't go away. Oh, my. Hour number 3, and a busy hour it will be. Don't forget the Oakley Pioneer Days. Man, all this week, ripping good fun up at Oakley. And Smith's Cafe up there at Oakley, 135 East Main in Oakley, says, come on up. We're open Monday through Saturday, 6:30 a.m. in the morning until all the customers finally leave, and enjoy great burgers and everything else at Smith's Cafe in Oakley. And speaker of the House of Representatives, Scott Bedke, says you've got to enjoy the fun up here this week in Oakley. Absolutely, the Oakley Pioneer Days, all this week, the 131st edition. It's going to be a lot of fun all week long in Oakley for the Pioneer Days. And boy, you talk about activity. Let's tell you again, tonight they've got a big team roping. Tomorrow night they've got that moto rodeo. Thursday night the Gymkhana, and Friday and Saturday night the open rodeo, along with all kinds of other festivities going on for Oakley Pioneer Days. Looking forward with faith. I look forward to Tuesdays with Faith, because then all of a sudden Faith walks in the door, and here he is, Dr. History. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. You know, it's no secret that you do a great job putting forth all the stories about the Old West and everything. How do you figure out what you're going to talk about on a week-by-week basis? I'm sure you plan this way months in advance.
I do. I have a dartboard.
I thought you were going to say Ouija board.
No. You know, I just kind of have to see, I'll start looking through stories, and I think, haven't talked about that for a while, so
there you go.
I like to just go around to different things.
So it's very scientific.
It is very scientific.
I see.
Yeah. So, you know, before we go here, I just want to say hi to John.
John.
And I want to just mention this guy. He's got a podcast out there with a whole bunch of history stories.
Really?
And he emailed me this past week, and it's all kinds of history, not just Old West, but everything. And it's called 1001 Heroes, Legends, Histories, and Mysteries. And he does a really good job. So I just want to give a plug for John.
Oh, where does he live?
You know, actually, he and I are going to get on the phone today and talk. And
maybe we can get him on the air.
And actually, we have talked about that.
Oh.
So today I'm going to talk with him. And anyway, his name's John. And 1001 Heroes, Legends, Histories, and Mysteries.
One of those unique names you hardly ever hear, John.
Right, John.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'll know more about that after we visit.
So what are we going to get into today?
How about a gang of downright murderers, thieves, and lost treasure?
Oh, are we talking about Congress, or are we talking about...
Here we go.
Okay.
So picture this, okay? Surrounded these guys, these defenders, they fired down on the people that were after them from atop a small hill, and we're actually in southwestern Oregon. There's a frontier town called O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that? Maybe just a small place, I'm imagining.
Is it over, you said
it's
western
southwestern.
Oregon? Southwestern.
Yeah, so it may not even exist now. I don't know.
Dried and blew away.
Yeah, anyway, it was a short but fierce battle, weighed down by stolen gold. The thieves attempted a desperate escape as the posse that followed after them slowly closed the distance. And after chasing them for less than a half dozen miles, the 5 horsemen were finally forced to get off their horses, get on high ground, and kind of a last-ditch effort to save themselves. Well, the men were outnumbered hopelessly. They were outgunned, and when the shooting was over, 4 members of the Triscuit gang were dead, and the 5th guy was dying.
Well, isn't the Triscuit family, they started those Little Biscuits?
No relation. So, you know, violence, of course, was not an uncommon occurrence in the gold mining country and camps of a place called Josephine County in the 1850s. But what the Triscuit gang had done on that day in 1852 in a little place, it's called Sailor's Diggings, and it's amazing how swift the justice was in taking care of these guys. And the crime they got punished for wasn't just stealing gold. Okay?
Oh, really? What else did they do?
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, to look at the origins of the Triscuit gang, it's kind of muddy. We really don't know why or how, but what is known is that the gang was named after 2 brothers, a guy by the name of Henry and Jack Triscuit. They had 3 accomplices, Chris Stover, Fred Cooper, and Miles Hearn, and that was the group of 5 that formed the membership of this Triscuit gang.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why they were at this little place called Sailor's Diggings on the afternoon of August 3rd, 1852, we don't really know. The outlaws had come from California, they think, where they apparently specialized in robbing miners on the California gold fields, which included murder when necessary to accomplish their aims. These were bad guys. They had no conscience. But most accounts say that they were running from a California posse after a bunch of robberies they did, and they dashed into southern Oregon, hoping to get away from the law in the rugged mountains and in the mining towns and camps. So in 1852, the southern Oregon goldfields were producing a lot of gold.
See, now, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Oregon was really that prominent in gold.
And you wouldn't think that, because you hear about Montana, Colorado, Idaho, California, all those. But anyway, the gang members made their way to this little place called Sailor's Diggings with the idea of seeing how much gold they could mine for themselves, but not labor-wise, but
just
with their guns.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be a few more years before Sailor's Diggings would actually become known as a town called Waldo. And
they went from Sailor's Diggings to Waldo. They were hard-pressed for good names, weren't they?
When the Triscuit gang came to town...
There's a cartoon named after Waldo.
There's a character,
Yeah.
But when they came to town, it was named Sailor's Diggings. But it actually wasn't too bad. It was developed. It had a blacksmith shop, a cobbler, a butcher, some dry goods, some hotels and saloons. So it was a typical gold mining town that starts up.
Yeah.
Well, the five outlaws spent a good deal of the afternoon in the saloon, drinking and becoming obviously a little loose, inebriated, or absolutely drunk.
They were, drunk.
Well, eventually, feeling a little restless or perhaps bored, Fred Cooper, one of the gang, got up from his chair. He staggered through the saloon door and onto the street. And this is kind of sad, Zeb. Without a word or any indication of what he was about to do, Cooper pulled his revolver from his holster and shot a guy dead that was just going by.
Why?
Shot him.
Oh, man.
Well, hearing the shot, the rest of the gang jumped up and came outside to see what was going on. Well, one look at the former Sailor Diggins resident sprawled down the ground, and, well, the gang's murderous instincts just took off and ignited. Well, the killing spree had begun. Guns were drawn. The five outlaws just began shooting randomly at anybody unfortunate enough to be taking an afternoon walk.
These were innocent townspeople.
Right down the main street of Sailor's Diggins. I mean, it was.
My.
Anyway, anybody that was a target, and I hate to say it on the air, but men, women, and even children.
Where's Matt Dillon when you need him?
I mean, it's a terrible thing, but like I say, these guys were.
They were bad dudes.
Notorious, yeah. So what caused the shooting? Nobody knows. Maybe panic. There's no way to know. But within a few minutes, there were 16 bodies.
16 people?
Bodies laying
that
on the street.
is terrible.
But being miners, most of the town's men were in the surrounding hills and gulches. They were working their claims as this terrible thing was taking place. But the old-fashioned black powder cap and ball pistols the gang used would have produced a lot of noise and a lot of gray smoke. Well, the miners could hear this and even probably see it in some cases.
Yeah.
So they knew something bad was taking place in town. So from all over the surrounding area, the miners dropped their pans and shovels, they grabbed their rifles, jumped on their horses, and made for Sailor's Diggins as quick as they could go.
Okay.
Because obviously it was their family and friends who were back in the town.
Absolutely.
So anyway, back in town, the Triscuit gang knew that their time was short.
They didn't have any sheriffs then, huh?
No, not. I guess not, because it doesn't mention any kind of law enforcement.
Okay.
So anyway, they knew that the armed and angry miners would soon be coming to the rescue. So the gang had one last order of business to take care of before getting the heck out of there. So they went to the Sailor's Diggins assayer's office, rushing into the office with guns drawn. They took all the gold on hand, then made the assayer their murder victim number 18.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, like I said, these guys had no conscience. So now their time was up, and they had to get the heck out of there. In the hope of giving their soon-be pursuers the slip, the gang might have considered going across country, but it was rough country. It was rugged. There were a lot of vegetation, trees. Would have been too slow. So in addition, now get this, Zeb, they were carrying a lot of stolen gold. Okay, their haul from the Sailor's Diggins assay office has been estimated between $25,000 and $75,000 worth of gold.
Now that's pretty heavy, though.
Well, and they say this could have weighed up to 250 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot to carry. So some accounts say that they, quote, borrowed 2 pack horses to carry their stolen cargo. Mm-hmm. But even if they did, that additional weight, it would have slowed them down a lot.
Absolutely.
You can't lead a pack horse with all that weight on and go very fast. Well, more than likely, the gang took what they call the old Waldo Road west toward this little mining camp called O'Brien.
Oh, now we're up at O'Brien.
Yeah, we're heading towards O'Brien, about 6 or 7 miles away. So probably another small gold camp.
I see.
Well, they didn't make it that far, just a mile or two east of the mining camp, with the posse of very, very angry miners now in sight, and numbering a whole bunch more than they, 20 or 30 guys. The Triscuits and their gang made the summit of a low hill, and they hunkered down for a shootout. They knew they were in trouble.
Really?
Well, the fight
and deservedly so.
Yeah, exactly. The fight didn't last long. Seeing the outlaws whip their horses up the hill, the miners quickly surrounded this. It must have been just a small hill.
Yeah.
Because they surrounded this hill. And they hid behind trees and stumps and rocks, and they began firing. They sent volley after volley of slugs into the outlaws' position. I mean, I don't know how many, 20, 30, 40 people shooting in these gang of 5. Well, the Triscuit brothers, along with Fred Cooper and Miles Hearn, they were dead. Chris Stover, the last of the 5, was still alive. He was seriously wounded. The miners very carefully and gently put him on a horse. I'm sure.
Let me say that again. Very carefully
and gently, I'm sure.
And gently.
Yeah. Threw him on the back across the horse.
I see.
And brought him back to Sailor's Diggins so that they could have a proper hanging, but the darn guy died before they got there. So.
Well, of all the things.
Yeah, I know. You thought he'd have waited,
Yeah.
Well, the fight was over. Justice had been given out to the Triscuit gang, and all that was left for the miners to do was bury the dead and go back to their claims. And think about this again, Zeb. 18 people in this probably fairly small place. Had to affect a lot of families.
And a total of 23 met their demise, including the gang members, in one day for nothing.
Yeah. Yep. So, but there is a little twist to the story. Okay?
Oh.
The gold that the gang lifted from the assayer's office wasn't with the outlaws or their effects when the miners searched the hilltop after the gunfight.
It's in the rocks.
Despite searches that continued afterward, the gold was never located, so it leads to speculation that the gang buried the gold either on the hill where they made their last stand or somewhere along the road as they were running. So a legend has grown over the years that the lost treasure of the Triscuit gang.
Do you think that's really true, though?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Now, occasionally some modern-day treasure seekers, they may venture into the hills around O'Brien and search for this gold, and actually they think that'd be worth millions today. Well, consider 250 pounds worth of gold.
Wow.
I mean, that's got to be worth a lot of money in these days.
You and I, well, me especially, we could retire.
We could. But to date, no one has struck the mother lode, so to speak. So
now, was it carried in bags, or was it in saddlebags, or what?
It doesn't really say, but I'm guessing that at that point they had not had time to maybe make it into gold bars.
But they took it out of the
assayer's office.
So probably in bags.
I'm going to guess bags.
Are you beeping? What was that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to guess it's gold dust and probably nuggets.
I see.
But in bags, because, like I say, I don't think they would have had them into gold bars at that point.
No.
But as for Sailor's Diggins, it, like the Triscuit gang, has kind of faded into history. Eventually, they renamed it Waldo for whatever reason, who knows. And for a time, an important community, it was pretty important in Josephine County. Its fortunes kind of faded as the gold, as often does, played out, and it became a ghost town. Now, in the 1930s, a gravel mining company purchased the town site and took over the gravel for building material. So they were just after the gravel. So evidently there was a lot, besides gold, there was a lot of gravel that was deposited.
But they never had a clue as to where the gold might be.
No. So today, the only thing that's left of Sailor's Diggins or Waldo is appropriately an old graveyard. That's the only thing.
Have you ever been over there?
I have never been in that area.
Well, now you talk about graveyards. What about the city and the people that passed away? I mean, did they keep the graveyard? Or?
Well, it says there's only an old graveyard left there.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, so the town, pretty much the buildings are all gone.
Wow.
The only thing left is this graveyard because, which often happened with a ghost town. Everybody left.
Have you ever been to any Old West ghost towns?
Well, I've been to Virginia City, Nevada City, up there by Ennis, Montana. Where else? I've been up in Silver City and up north of Ketchum,
Really?
Sun Valley. There's a place called Boulder Creek that there's an old mine back in there, really more of a mining area more than a town.
You take like all the old West towns and some of the weird names. It's a shame that all of them were either blown apart, nature just destroyed them, decayed them, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It is. I mean, if you think about, gold rush, of course, was a huge thing. I mean, think about all the guys that headed north to Alaska.
Oh.
And of course, that was years later, but still, those guys, they were pretty desperate
You
guys.
told me one time when you went up in that country that there was, what was the percentage of those?
Oh, very
small. It
small.
was very small.
Like even maybe 5% that actually made money.
some money,
Yeah. But to be up there, if anybody ever gets up there to Skagway, there's a little museum, just a real small museum. You go in there, and they have, of course, different artifacts to look at. But before they could go into Canada, into the Klondike, they had to have 2,000 pounds of gear. And
you told me that.
Yeah, and so they had to carry it, which if they didn't have horses, they would have to just piggyback it, take like 70, 80 pounds, drop it off, go back and get another 70, 80 pounds, bring it up, drop it off.
Now, when you say that they dropped it off, how were they guaranteed that somebody wasn't going to steal it?
That was the problem. People would steal it. And so what they would often do is get together 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. So one person would stay with the outfit while the others went back and got another load. And then they would take turns staying with the outfit. But you'd have to have one on each end.
Yeah.
And then when you got to that, what they call the golden staircase, where you're going up that steep hill that some guy dug out with a shovel and made this golden staircase, and he charged people to go up that staircase.
How many steps was it?
Just looking at it, it looks to me like it's, I'm just going to guess 150, I don't know, 200.
That's a lot of shoveling.
It is, but he probably made more money than
He meaning one guy did that?
Well, I think he had a couple of helpers that helped him keep it open, because when it would snow, they'd have to go in there and shovel it off.
Wow.
But if you've seen pictures, maybe as I have, of a line of men going up that staircase.
Yeah, you showed that to me.
And if you stepped out of line to rest, you may not get back in line for an hour, 2 hours.
Somebody would throw you out of line, or what?
No, if you got out to rest, because you're taking this heavy load up.
Wow.
So you may not get back in line for several hours. So, but the gold miners,
it's like going to a movie theater.
It is. Anyway, the gold, the attraction of gold just does things to people, and
yeah, but you mentioned something earlier. You said the conscience. There was no conscience of right or wrong. It was all evil with these killers. What about the Old West? I mean, a lot of good people lived in the Old West. A lot of good people were pioneers. What in the world would possess somebody to be like this Triscuit gang and just wantonly kill people? I just don't understand that.
To me, it wasn't just an all of a sudden thing, we're going to go kill people.
Yeah.
I mean, according to the story, they came up from California where they'd been robbing miners down there.
Oh, my goodness.
And according to...
So they got their just desserts.
Right. So they had been killing people in California. And you got to figure these guys, I don't know how old they were, but they had to start out on the wrong side, I'm going to guess at a very young age, before they moved up into California and then up into Oregon. So
unbelievable. I don't know where you find these stories, but this is a frustrating one.
Yeah. Well, this book's called Outlaw Tales of Oregon, and, there's a picture of the book. But, I just have, you asked about stories, I have books and books and books. Every time I go to a bookstore, I find a new book to buy. And
really?
I love finding really good books that I believe are accurate. I try to make sure that the
How do you judge and rate the authenticity?
That's a hard thing to do, because with history, sometimes you're taking the author's
you're taking something that's been passed down maybe from generation to generation in the form of a story that could be manipulated and changed 20 times.
Right, and that's why I try to be as careful as I can. And when I find a journal or a diary entry, to me, that's 100%. because they're using their own words to describe what happened.
Do we know honestly, would you say, about some of the old gunfighters or gunmen of the Old West, like Wyatt Earp, or maybe his brothers, or maybe John Wesley Hardin and that type of thing? Can we rely on what history is, or is a lot of it myth?
Again, that is such a hard thing to do because, and I've read different stories about the same individual that are slightly different.
Look at Billy the Kid.
Well, exactly. Look at Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid.
Yeah, did he die in, was it Bolivia?
Bolivia,
or did he die in New York City?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as a history...
And really nobody knows.
No. As a student of history, when I can get a journal or a diary, that to me is genuine. That, I believe, is...
I died in New York.
Yes. I wish Butch Cassidy's sister would let us know, because she's the one that supposedly saw him later.
After Bolivia.
Right.
Yeah. And Billy the Kid, there was a movie, and a lot of people poke fun at it and everything, and I can't remember the kid name that starred in that movie. He was brother to the guy that was the star of 2.5 Men. But anyway, they showed Billy the Kid as an old man living in the desert. I think you've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the theories are out there, the myths, the legends, all this,
Yeah.
So we just kind of have to read them and maybe think, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I think this is fairly accurate because the story I've just told, just because of the author, the studies and the biography or the information from his book.
Yeah.
I think he's researched it pretty well.
You ought to do a show sometime in the near future about some of the myths and some of the facts and some of the lingering questions, like Billy the Kid, that still are prevalent today. We don't really know the honest truth.
Yeah. I actually do have a book called Myths and Mysteries of the Old West.
Wow.
And it kind of does that. It kind of says, well, this might have happened or it might not.
And what do you do to check on those? We only got a minute left here, but how do you check on those?
I will go to other books, and I will go to different sites on the internet. I'll try to research as much as I can, whatever I can find on a particular story.
I see. Before you put it on here.
Yes.
So it is validated.
As far as I can do. As much as I can.
That was a good story. It was kind of a sad story.
It really is, because it left a lot of people in a bad way.
It really shows humanity lacked.
At its worst.
Yeah, at its worst.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And humanity at its best right here sitting across the table from me.
Thank you very much.
What was your name again? Hey, thank you. And next week, what's the subject matter?
That's going to be a mystery till about next Sunday night.
Is it a myth or is it a mystery?
That's right. We'll see.
Okay. Dr. History, thank you very much. Hey, I want to remind everybody on Thursdays we have a special segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by two wonderful sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland and Burley. And don't forget, oh my goodness, they've got everything for you. All the baby clothing and the baby furniture. They've got it all at A Child's World. All the summer clothes are 25% off, too. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call to find out how they can save you money on outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. Call them today, Ambulatory Surgery Center, along with A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you for tuning in and staying with us. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Right now, we're going to go right to the phone line, and we have with us the RCAF's USA CEO, Bill Bullard up in Montana. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm great. Thank you.
I'm going to ask our studio over at Burley, if you would please, Wheels, turn everything up a little bit in my headset. I'm having a hard time hearing our guest, if you would please. I'm glad you're on the air this morning because I wanted to talk to you about this presidential pardon regarding the Oregon ranchers, father and son, Dwight and Stephen Hammond. And I'll let you give us a thumbnail sketch of the story and then talk about the pardon itself. Bill, if you would, please.
Well, yes, the Hammonds ranch in the vicinity of Burns, Oregon, and they operate on Bureau of Land Management controlled grazing areas. And what had happened was that they had started a fire in order to prevent an ongoing fire from entering their property. And so they created a backfire. Backfire got away and burned about 139 acres. And the BLM took after the Hammonds in a criminal case and accused them of terrorist activities. We have looked at this and believe that what should have happened is that the Hammonds should have been exempted from the issue or the crime, the potential crime of starting a fire on BLM managed lands, because the 1948 statute clearly exempts those who are allottees on BLM land. In other words, an allottee can start fires in order to protect additional property. So there's a lot of unusual circumstances surrounding this case. In addition to that, the Hammonds, prior to this, had blocked some water that the BLM didn't want blocked. The Hammonds claimed it was theirs. Ultimately, it was determined it was. It left the BLM feeling somewhat embarrassed. The Hammonds also refused to go along with what the BLM was calling, it was a cattle-free type proposal that the BLM was trying to get the Hammonds to agree with. Cow-free wilderness plan is what it was called. So the BLM kind of had a chip on the shoulder with respect to the Hammonds. When the fire incident occurred, the Hammonds were charged with criminal, in fact, under the 1996 Terrorist Act, and as a result, were sentenced to prison. The original judge found that the prison term of 5 years was far too onerous, did not fit the crime, and sent the Hammonds to prison, this being Dwight and Stephen, for about 1 year. And then they were released, but the Department of Justice came back rather vindictively and said, no, they have to serve a 5-year term, and the Hammonds volunteered and acquiesced to serving that 5-year term. So the Hammonds had been in prison, and various organizations like the Range Allotment Owners Association and Protect the Harvest, and I know the Oregon Cattlemen's Association encouraged the president to grant a pardon, and that ultimately was done. So the Hammonds are now back on their ranch trying to put their ranch back together.
You know, Bill, this whole story, and I'm very, very familiar with this story, and knew some of the principles and know some of the principles involved in this very well. But first of all, let's go back to the fire. I still don't understand why the fire had to be such a focal point and create a prison sentence when it was an accident that absolutely no one meant to have it happen, and it should have been just an oops, but the law really and the BLM really wanted to make, I think, figureheads out of these people.
Well, yes, and we view that there's a high probability that they were retaliating against the Hammonds, again, for their positions in defending their water rights on the BLM-managed property, as well as refusing to engage in this cow-free wilderness plan. So the BLM didn't like the Hammonds, and this was their opportunity to make an example of them, and I think that is what has happened. And I think it's important too that this isn't an isolated case. You know, there's a case going on in Nevada in which the federal district court judge reviewed all the facts and ultimately concluded that the Bureau of Land Management employees were engaged in an intentional conspiracy to deprive a rancher there out of the use of his vested water rights and his grazing rights. And the judge says that the actions, the behavior of the BLM employee shock the conscience of the court. And we think that that's pretty alarming. And we believe that what happened in the Hammonds case is very similarly situated. It occurred around the same time frame, same federal agency. And we believe that those events were quite shocking as well. That's why we supported the president's action of granting an executive clemency to the Hammonds, which is, of course, a presidential pardon.
You know, I am so thankful that you were involved, and I'm so thankful that President Trump pardoned these ranchers, but their lives have been ruined, basically. It's pretty hard to put a jigsaw puzzle back together after this has happened in your life.
Well, that's absolutely true, and I think it's a travesty that should never have happened, but it has been going on for decades here in the West. You know, if we look at the BLM's own land use regulations for grazing, they claim that the purpose of those regulations is to provide for the sustainability of the Western livestock industry and communities that are dependent upon productive, healthy public rangelands. And so that was essentially the policy of the Bureau of Land Management and the federal government. They wanted to populate the West. They wanted to encourage entrepreneurs to come out and engage in logging and mining and agriculture, particularly livestock production. And so they realized that unlike in the eastern sector of the United States that has a lot of rainfall, the West is quite arid, and you simply cannot maintain a livelihood on 160 acres on a quarter section of land. So they changed policies in order to populate the West, and they did so by deciding that ranchers should be provided an opportunity to graze on property, enough property that would sustain an economically viable ranching unit. And so that's how they populated the West, is with this federally managed lands, and the federal government controls about 28% of the United States lands. Virtually all of it is out in the western states. For example, in Oregon, 49% of Oregon is controlled by the federal government.
Right.
So that was the policy. They wanted to populate the West. They wanted to have a productive, economically viable business operations. They wanted to create and support rural communities. And then in about the mid-'70s, they changed their mind and said, well, we didn't really mean that. Now what we want to do is depopulate the West. We want to leave the land and the resources to the wildlife and to Mother Nature, and we do not want human activity. So there has been a concerted effort to eliminate both grazing and ranchers from western lands managed by the federal government. And this has began in about 1976. And so we are seeing the federal government impose arbitrary conditions upon ranchers as an effort to reduce the number of cattle that they could run on their BLM allotments. As a result, the ranchers become uneconomical, and we see them exiting the industry by the droves. We have fewer ranchers then to support the rural communities, which is why you see dilapidated rural communities all across the western United States. It's because the policies that we have been pursuing now for the past 30, 40 years are failed policies that are destroying the economic fabric of the West and the ranchers themselves, as you said.
Absolutely.
Their lives were destroyed at the hand of the federal government. We have the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, has determined that that was inappropriate to keep the Hammonds incarcerated. He has issued the pardon, and now the Hammonds have no choice but to try to rebuild their lives.
Absolutely.
Which has been devastated for no other reason than by the hand of a government that has lost sight of its original purpose and has been pursuing other people's agendas, not the agendas of the American people.
Absolutely true. We have a caller with a question. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air. Thank you.
Yes, he just made my point. The environmental deep state, they literally want to stop us from any kind of access to public lands. Up in Elmore County here in Idaho, there was a bridge that washed out 2 years ago, and when the Elmore County was going to rebuild it up by Anderson Ranch Reservoir in Pine, Idaho, the EPA, the environmentalists, United Rivers, everybody that was involved with it, the environmentalists mostly, from behind the scenes, Elmore County submitted 3 proposals for a new bridge, and this is a big river. And they stopped it. They said turned every one of them down. Well, every one of those proposals cost money, and the bridge is still not rebuilt. And people have summer homes up there. There's businesses up there. People do things up there. They need logging trucks, concrete trucks. And in the end, they made them free span this river. If you have any idea how wide this is and what it's going to take to free span this river, it's an absolute... This is the kind of obstacles that the environmentalists make for the common people, and this Elmore County is getting their butt kicked, and this is not something that they can afford.
I appreciate it, caller. If you'd respond to the caller, please, Bill, I'd appreciate it.
Well, I think what he's citing is an example. It's a symptom of the problem. The problem is we have lost sight of the original and the appropriate goal and objective of sustaining economically viable individual businesses and communities, but you can't do that if you've lost sight of that goal. So we've lost sight of the goal, and then all these symptoms develop. Symptoms by which we don't maintain the infrastructure that we need to in order to sustain businesses and communities. So we reduce the grazing, we reduce the ability to minimize the undergrowth in these forests, and as a result, when we do have a lightning-caused fire now, a naturally occurring fire, they are superheated fires. They destroy livestock. They destroy the soil. They cause far more harm than many want to admit. But by grazing, properly and managed grazing, you reduce that underbrush, and you reduce the intensity of these fires and therefore the damage that they cause on a long-term basis. So what the caller described was a symptom of the problem. The problem is we've lost sight of our ultimate and necessary goal of ensuring that we have productive economic businesses and communities in all of western United States.
I'd add something to what you just said, too, Bill, is that we're seeing rural America under attack for existing. And when I say that, I mean it that there seems to be a big brother government attitude like, well, we don't need you. We want you to move into a more consolidated and more compromising position to where we have more control over you because we know better about how to manage your life than you do. That's the attitude I see in this country.
Well, and unfortunately, that attitude has grown in proportion to the decline in the rural population. As we have forced more and more farms off the lands through failed government policies, failed trade policies, and we've hollowed out these rural communities, there are fewer people here now who understand the particular needs of rural citizens. And as a result, we become controlled by, as you said, and dictated to by the more populated centers that simply don't understand what's happening out here. And so they have a rather nostalgic view of rural America, but if they drove across it, they would see something very, very different. They would see that these rural communities are indeed being hollowed out, and it's a shame. Many of these western communities, the small communities, are beginning to look like underdeveloped countries, and that's our problem. We goof. And one analogy that we can draw is that for over 25 years, we've been pursuing failed trade policies and inviting China to send as much as they want to the United States and to force our manufacturers to offshore, and all in the name of getting cheaper consumer goods from China. And now we've finally woken up and said, we've destroyed the heart of America. We've destroyed our middle class by not providing ongoing opportunities for good-paying jobs, and instead we've been satisfied with low-paying, low-hour service jobs, and that, too, has contributed to the demise of rural America. So we've woken up with respect to trade, while there are still globalists out there that want to pursue the prehistoric era where we were gutting America, we are on a new course. And hopefully that will spill over onto the national policies and the policies with respect to the federally managed lands again. Hopefully we will bring America back on track, because we have certainly been following the wrong course for many decades.
Bill, in regards to the cattle industry right now, what about, and I've only got about 3 minutes left in this segment, but what about the current trade policies? What about this administration? What about the ranchers that you work with RCAF USA? Is there a bright light at the end of the tunnel, or, like I've said before, is it a train coming at us head on?
Well, I think there's definitely a very bright light ahead in our near future, and that's because once you recognize a problem exists, and that's what we have done with respect to the President's actions to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, and we'll use that as the example. The entire agricultural industry says, do not change the North American Free Trade Agreement. These are important export customers, and that's particularly occurring in the beef industry. So the swamp, if you will, the conventional organizations say, don't change NAFTA. Well, here's what we get with NAFTA. For the past 4 years, we have been buying from Canada and Mexico about $4 billion worth of beef, cattle, beef variety meats, and processed beef. And then Canada and Mexico turns around and purchases from us $2 billion. So every time we send $4 billion to Canada and Mexico, they give us $2 billion back. We've been doing this for 23 years. And I would submit that Canada and Mexico will play that game until we quit, because they have a 2-to-1 advantage over us. Every time we pay them $4, they pay us $2 back. They have made a windfall, particularly the multinational meat packers that have operations in the United States, in Canada, and some in Mexico. They are laughing all the way to the bank. We finally have a president who says, this is stupid. We need to engage in smart trade. We need to rebalance trade. The first thing we need to do is stop the cheating. Then we need to rebalance. The way to rebalance is to limit the flows of imports that are coming into this market cheaper than they can be produced here. That will then give an incentive for our manufacturing to re-engineer and reboot, because we've gone a long time forcing our economic machine out of our country. Now we've got to bring it back. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we're certainly on the right track.
Absolutely. You know, Donald Trump is being criticized for being a lot of things or not being part of certain things. But this administration and the ideas of America First are some things that are long, long overdue.
We've been pushing for this ever since our organization was formed over 18 years ago. We want trade reform, and no other past administration was willing to touch it, Republican or Democrat. Now President Trump has stepped in and says we're going to fix it. So we certainly support his efforts to redirect our ongoing failed trade policy.
Bill, I always appreciate having you on the air because you're a straight shooter. And Bill, of course, the RCAF USA CEO, Bill Bullard, Montana. God bless you and come back soon.
Thank you very much, Deb. My pleasure.
All right, sir. Thank you. I always appreciate his straightforward, candid remarks, and I really enjoy him. Bill Bullard, up in Montana. Thank you very much. Oh my, the weather. Wheels is saying, Zeb, come on, we got to get a weather forecast here. Okay, brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call and find out more, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, it is barbecue season. Everybody head for the grill. They've got all the marinated pork ribs for just $1.99 per pound. And they've got all kinds of different barbecue packages. You got to check it out. And all the breakfast bacons and the different breakfast sausages and bratwurst, my favorite. All of this and so much more at Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Feels like we're smack dab in the middle of summer because, well, we are, and the weather is going to reflect that. Here is your weather forecast today for Zeb at the Ranch, expecting sunny skies and a high of 90. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west, right around 10 miles an hour, expecting gusts as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low right around 60. This high-pressure system is going to be sticking around with us for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, sunny skies, high of 94, partly cloudy for Wednesday night with a low of 60. Thursday, again, sunny and 91, expecting the same for Friday. By Saturday, mostly sunny and 90. Saturday night, however, do have a slight chance of some thunderstorms before midnight with a low of 63. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you. Brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and his entire crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious meats for all this barbecue season. Don't forget, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarro's Meats. Little note here. We have been, well, I'll take this call and then I'll tell you about a little note. Go ahead, caller. I've got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, quickly, Zeb, I just wanted to throw this in before you got off the air. And I know you may have already said this, but if Trump would have said that he, agreed that Putin had interfered in the election, then he would have admitted that there was collusion in a way, and the mainstream media would have jumped on this, they're so upset that he did what he did because he didn't, he did exactly what he should have done. This guy's ahead of everybody, and thank God we have him.
No, I agree with you. And the problem is with Donald Trump right now, and I'm going to use the terminology in layman's terms that absolutely describes him and his administration. He is damned if he does, and damned if he doesn't.
But you see, he's sly like a fox, because if he would have said, yeah, we're going to make sure he doesn't do it again, then he would have admitted guilt in a way.
Absolutely.
Directly. See, by doing what he did, that's the reason they're so mad.
Well, the left is right now running with their hair on fire because they are basing their whole attack and their future of their party on nothing more than hate. Randy, I got to run, but thank you for calling. Thank you. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I want to tell you they've got all the tires for all your driving conditions, all the different driving conditions, all the vehicles, cars, pickups, SUVs, trailers. I mean, they got all your tires. Absolutely. That's not brag. That's a fact. Many of which are on sale right now before you get ready to take that great big road trip. You stop in and see them today. 7 locations serving you, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And service is the key word. I mean, I don't know where they find these great people, but they are really committed to helping you have a better day. Believe me. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twish family over in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. They are the best. That's not brag. That's a fact. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Tomorrow on the program, Dave Beagle, Robert Spencer, and, of course, the incredible Bulk, Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game, all of that and more. Right here on Zeb at the Ranch, where we always say when we wrap up the program, the way things were are the way things ought to be, with the addition of The World Needs More Cowboys. Thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.